On our 7th wedding anniversary, I scrolled into the viral clip everyone was sharing. Down in the audience of the arena concert, a man dropped to one knee and proposed to the girl in white. One glance and every drop of blood in my body ran cold. The white shirt he wore was the one I had pressed for Ethan that very morning. Right over the heart, my initials were stitched. 3 hours earlier Ethan had kissed my forehead, full of apology. Emergency cross-border meeting, sweetheart. I'm sorry, I won't make the concert I promised. Turns out he simply went with someone else. The doorbell rang. Jordan arrived with a huge armful of dewy white roses. The CEO's tied up tonight. These are his peace offering to Sterling. My lungs seized. I hate white roses. I once joked that the day he stopped loving me he should send them as a parting signal. I took the bouquet, dropped it into the trash along with the 2 now worthless concert tickets on the table, pulled out my phone, and told my attorney to draft the divorce papers. Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening from. The moment the papers were signed I sat on the couch and watched the wall clock sweep its hands in endless circles. The clip kept climbing the trending chart. Comments gushed, "What fairy tale romance? Proposing at a concert is pure magic. Look how happy she is, crying such pretty tears." I looked at the girl in the video. I knew her. Rosalie, my half-sister. Ridiculous. On-screen Ethan held a bouquet of red roses, voice trembling. "Rosalie, we met late, but I want every day that's left to be with you." So devoted it brought tears to my eyes. I remembered a scorching afternoon 7 years ago when Ethan confessed to me, young and awkward. The light in the boy's eyes had been hotter than the sun. "Ivy, I know you're afraid to love. It's okay, I'll wait until you're ready to love me back." The lock clicked. Ethan walked in, smelling of night air. "Still up? Say." Seeing me in the dark gave him pause, then he casually toed off his shoes and loosened his tie. "I told you not to wait. That meeting was a nightmare, ran late." I stared at the lipstick smear on his collar. "Did the meeting go well?" I asked. He moved to hug me, and a sweet scent drifted off him, sticky rose perfume. Rosalie's perfume. Nausea surged. I shoved him away. His brows knitted, but he stayed patient. "Smooth session." "I'm beat. Did you get the flowers?" "I had them handpicked." I swallowed, throat raw. I tossed them. Ethan's face darkened. "Ivy, what's your problem? It's only a concert." I apologized. "What more do you want?" "Our anniversary. 7 years." My voice cracked. "Ethan, have you forgotten I hate white roses?" He froze. A heartbeat later he yanked off his tie and flung it onto the sofa, impatient. "Can you quit the drama? They're just flowers." Rosalie said. He stopped short, gaze dodging. I lifted my head, voice ice cold. "Rosalie said what?" Irritation lined Ethan's face. He looked away, fished a cigarette from his pocket, and lit it. The ember pulsed between his fingers, smoke blurred his features, erasing 7 years. I felt dazed. When had the boy who once saw only me turned into this? After a moment he glanced over, eyes flat. "Ivy, can you not go paranoid every time Rosalie's name comes up?" I ran into her on the road. "She said every girl loves white roses, pure, good symbolism. She was only being helpful. Stop importing the darkness of your family into our life. Always, my childhood trauma. Ever think the problem might be you?" Tears slid down. I gaped at the man who knew every scar yet chose the cruelest words. Mother adored white roses. Her garden was a snowdrift of flawless blooms, yet every drunken midnight she'd drag me by the hair into those thorns. Press my face until the barbed stems drew blood. The deepest nightmare of my childhood, why I loathe them. He knew how many years it took me to act normal. Now, defending another woman, he'd rip. Pet the wound open. "Ethan," I forced the sour taste down, "did you really think I wouldn't see that proposal clip?" The cigarette between his fingers twitched, panic flickered. Then his expression blanked. "It was just concert crowd interaction. Rosalie's your sister, newly back, no one to go with, so her brother-in-law took her. What's wrong with that? Must your mind be so filthy?" A low laugh escaped me, eyes scarlet. "You know you're her brother-in-law, yet you also know I despise Rosalie. As a child I knelt begging mother to stop drinking. She beat me harder and sent me to the mini-mart to steal liquor. Each time the cashier caught me I came home striped with bruises. Yet the moment Rosalie was born the woman who couldn't live without vodka quit magically. All the love I never earned she lavished on Rosalie. Still Rosalie wanted more, whatever was mine. First the overseas exchange slot, now Ethan." Ethan looked down at me, disgust in his eyes. "Ivy, I'm sick of your victim act, like the world owes you. If you hate white roses so much, don't expect flowers ever again." He wheeled away and slammed the door, leaving me standing in the silence. When my legs finally gave, I collapsed onto the sofa. Next day my dear mother rang, exhaustion washed over me. Predictably, she was calling to scold. I hesitated, then answered. The moment I picked up she snapped, "Ivy, Rosalie just got back, what's wrong with Ethan showing her around? You're her big sister, how can you be so petty?" My knuckles went white around the phone, my throat was sand. He proposed to her at a concert. I'm his wife. What kind of generosity do you expect from me? A pause, then a cold snort. People divorce all the time, a proposal proves nothing. If I hadn't remarried and dumped you on that gambler dad, you'd never have met a sterling heir. And now you catfight your sister? That's why I can't stand you. Born under a curse, those seductive eyes, flirting even with your deadbeat father. My heart clenched. I'd heard it since childhood, yet I still can't grasp how a mother speaks to her child like that. When father dragged me off to sell me for his debt, where were you? Throwing Rosalie's birthday party. The silence on the other end of the line shattered under my scream, then turned to a snarl. Ancient history, are you going to hoard it forever? You're fine now, aren't you? Ivy, I'm warning you, if you dare stir trouble between Rosalie and Ethan again, I'll pretend I never gave birth to you. The call cut off. Tears splashed onto the back of my hand, so hot they scalded the breath out of me. Pretend she never gave birth to me? When, in all these years, had she ever remembered I was her daughter? Right then, the front door keypad chirped. I thought Ethan had come back. I frantically scrubbed the tears away. I didn't want him to see me like this. He wouldn't feel sorry anyway. But the person who pushed the door open was Rosalie. She stepped in, bright smile in place, gaze sweeping the living room until it landed on the white roses in the trash. Oh dear, these were handpicked by my dear brother-in-law, and you just tossed them? She bent, plucked one, and held it to her nose, eyes gleaming with. Still, what can one expect? A girl raised in the gutter can't appreciate elegance. Only the beloved deserve flowers like these. I stared at her, voice glacial. You're not welcome here. Get out. Rosalie laughed softly. Ivy, do you know why Ethan never came home last night? He was at my place. A man who'd rather shack up with his sister-in-law. Some wife you are. Nausea hit, my face drained of color. Rosalie preened. Ethan chased you back then only because he hadn't tasted your icy type, he wanted something new. And you thought it was true love? Hilarious. Look at yourself, half dead, what man could ever like that? I lost control. I swung and slapped her. At the exact same moment a roar came from the foyer. Ivy, what the hell are you doing? Ethan was back. He carried Brea fast, an olive branch, yet walked in on this scene. Rosalie's reflexes were astonishing. She let herself topple backward with a shriek. It hurts, big sister pushed me. Ethan rushed over like a madman and shoved me aside. I crashed into the sideboard, a bolt of pain shooting up my spine. Ugh. I doubled over, cold sweat bursting out. Ethan never even glanced at me. He cradled Rosalie, stroking the tiny scrape on her forehead, his eyes soft with heartbreak. Rosalie, are you okay? Where does it hurt? Rosalie leaned against him, playing the considerate victim. Brother-in-law, don't blame her. It's my fault. I shouldn't have upset her. She said seeing me makes her sick. Ethan spun toward me, disgust spilling from his eyes. Ivy, how can you be so vicious? Rosalie came in kindness and you hit her? No wonder your own mother can't stand you. You'll never measure up to your sister Rosalie. Your mom just called, said you're jealous of Rosalie and I should watch you. I didn't believe it, guess she was right. Each word was a blade, slicing flesh. My knees buckled, pain stabbed at my heart. Ethan, 7 years. 7 years together, and this is who you think I am? His gaze wavered, a flicker of hesitation. Then Rosalie whimpered, brother-in-law, it hurts. And the doubt vanished. Ethan swept her into his arms and strode out. As he passed me he paused, voice arctic. Ivy, spend the next few days reflecting. Silence swallowed the house. Only the appended breakfast on the carpet remained, soy milk pooling like a sneer at the absurdity of these 7 years. Ethan and I slipped into a cold war, he never came home. Rosalie's Instagram updated. A photo of plain kanji and a man's wrist, red string bracelet unmistakable. I had knelt on 3,000 stone steps, knees black and blue, to secure that charm for Ethan. He was the first person ever kind to me. So I wrapped my blazing sincerity around him, trying to keep the fragile happiness I'd found. Maybe I was never meant to be happy. I stared at the screen until my eyes misted. I wiped them, it was time to leave. But my ID card was gone. While I rifled through drawers in panic, my phone vibrated. A picture from Rosalie. She dangled my card between manicured fingers above a pitch-black well. Big sis, want it? Come to the abandoned wine cellar. Door slams at the hour dot. I sprinted to the back garden. The iron cellar door stood ajar. A cloying stench of rotting flowers rolled out. My stomach lurched and I froze on the threshold. You're slow, sis. Rosalie's voice drifted up, echoing like a ghost. I swallowed the bile, flicked on my phone's flashlight, and descended step by step. Give my ID back. I stretched out a trembling hand. She twirled the card, wild with glee. If you leave, who plays the pathetic foil to my bliss? You're my contrast, you stay. Lunatic. I lunged to snatch it. She flung the card into a corner, darted past me while I scrambled after it, and slammed the door shut. Clang. The lock clicked. Rosalie, open this door. I pounded until my palms burned. Her vicious laughter trailed away beyond the wall. Footsteps faded. Darkness swallowed me whole. Only the mountain of desiccated white roses in the corner exhaled their sickly perfume. No, no. I shrank into a ball, nails digging at my throat while my lungs seized. Childhood nightmares surged, mother's twisted face, the black closet, thorns piercing skin, my vision doubled, sweat drenched me. Trembling, I lifted my phone, one flickering bar. Instinct made me dial the number engraved on my heart. It rang forever before he answered. Background: a loud restaurant. Ethan, help me, locked in the abandoned wine cellar. Rosalie bolted the door, can't breathe. A cold pause, then his voice like ice. Ivy, are you done yet? Rosalie just called in tears, said you shoved her into the rose piles and cut her hands. Now you're hiding to play damsel? She swears she never locked anything. You ran in yourself to force me home. I'm with important investors, no time for your sympathy stunts. It really is locked. Ethan, you know I'm claustrophobic. Tears rolled down in heavy drops. I begged in despair, my nails raking bloody streaks across the floor. Ethan cut me off irritably. How many more times are you going to trot out that little trauma of yours? Rosalie was right, you're just too melodramatic. Beep. The call was heartlessly disconnected. The phone slid from my hand, its glow dying completely. In the boundless darkness it felt as though every white rose had turned into a gaping mouth, lunging to devour me. I tried to scream, but no sound came. The instant before my mind dissolved I heard a thunderous crash outside. The iron lock was violently smashed apart. Blinding light poured in. I lifted my eyes with effort, and through the haze saw a silhouette haloed against the glare. I stretched out my blood-smeared hand, shaking. Help, please. A familiar voice rang beside my ear. Ivy. Ivy. It was Ethan. That voice had, countless times in the deep of night after nightmares, coaxed me gently back to sleep. Then everything went black. When I opened my eyes again, stark white filled my vision. The odor of disinfectant slid into my nostrils as I stared blankly at the ceiling. Ivy, you're finally awake, you scared me to death. A hoarse voice came from the bedside. I turned my head slowly and saw Ethan sitting there. His suit was rumpled, stubble shadowed his jaw, and red cobwebs crowded his eyes. Looking at his haggard face, a bitter ache rose in me. My thoughts drifted to the past. Junior year, when I had emergency appendicitis surgery, I'd been unable to get a cab at midnight. I'd never seen him so frantic. He carried me on his back to the hospital and stayed by my bed for 3 days straight without closing his eyes. He clasped my hand, kissing my fingertips over and over. Ivy, I'll never let you suffer again. My heart softened uncontrollably. I decided to explain one last time. Ethan, Rosalie took my ID. He's the one who trapped me. Oh, big sister's awake? My unfinished words were cut off as Rosalie walked in. She came to Ethan's side, slipped her arm naturally through his, and asked with feigned concern, Sis, how could you be so careless as to lock yourself in? If I hadn't begged my brother-in-law to go back and check on you, who knows what might have happened? My heart gave a violent lurch. You begged him to save me? Ethan patted the back of her hand, admiration thick in his voice. Yes, Ivy. Last night I was furious and didn't want to deal with you, but Rosalie kept crying and begging, saying that even if it was just a prank, what if something really happened? She said you're her sister, she couldn't abandon you. See how kind Rosalie is? You've always targeted her, but now you know who truly cares about you, right? My head buzzed, a roar filled my ears. So Ethan had come not because he worried about me, not because he loved me, but because the very person who'd nearly murdered me had magnanimously whispered a word. I found it absurd. Ethan, she was the one who locked me in. Sister, how can you say that? Rosalie's tears fell instantly. You invited me to the wine cellar, saying you'd reconcile with me if I came. Ethan's face darkened. Ivy, enough. Rosalie saved your life, show some gratitude instead of biting the hand that feeds you. Just then his phone rang. He glanced at the screen, apparently an urgent company call, shot me a glare, and strode out of the room with the phone. The moment the door clicked shut, Rosalie's grievance vanished. She looked down at me, a vicious smile curving her lips. Upset, sister? Don't understand why I told him to rescue you? She leaned close and whispered in my ear, of course I didn't want you to die that easily. I just needed you to see one simple truth, even when you're hanging between life and death, even when you're the victim, one word from me makes Ethan think you're just causing trouble. In his heart your life isn't worth a single tear of mine. I trembled with rage, my nails digging bloody crescents into my palms. The malicious face before me slowly overlapped with that same malicious, younger face from 7 years ago. Senior year, I'd earned the only overseas exchange slot with the top GPA in the department. It was the chance that could change my life. Then my mother, who hadn't contacted me since she remarried, showed up. No greeting, no concern, only a cold command, give the exchange spot to Rosalie. Why? She's only a freshman, she isn't eligible. I earned this. I screamed through my tears. Because I can't stand the sight of you. She slapped me. Fight Rosalie for it and I'll break your legs. In the end the slot went to Rosalie. Victor had enough clout to strip me of everything and then invert the story, branding me the one who'd stolen the opportunity. By graduation I couldn't land a decent job. I asked her, you have everything, why keep stealing what's mine? Even then Rosalie smiled the same way. Because taking your things is fun. I ground my teeth, longing to tear that false face to shreds. She had taken my mother's love, taken my man, things I could endure. It takes two to tango. Love of family apparently wasn't in my cards. As for a man, fine, I could live without one. But what I hated most was that she had ruined my future. Rosalie, aren't you tired of this game? Not at all. She studied her fresh manicure, indifferent. Anything you have, I want to destroy. Watching you suffer makes me happy. I lifted my eyes to hers. In that stare I discovered I hated her even more. Rosalie had inherited our mother's beauty, like a scarlet rose, breathtaking. I, apart from the teardrop mole at the corner of my eye, shared none of her looks. Yet on my plain face that seductive mole seemed awkward, superfluous. Mother said she despised that mark, grotesque, just like my useless father. The air congealed. Then Ethan finished his call and stepped back inside. Instantly Rosalie's eyes reddened, her voice choked with sobs. Sister, I know you dislike me, but Ethan truly loves you, how could you say he's just your dog? Ethan pushed the door just in time to hear those words. He froze, staring at me across the room. After a long moment he rasped, Ivy, you really have no heart. All these years I've been the one chasing you while you stayed indifferent. So you never valued my love at all. You don't deserve anything I've given. Acid rose in my throat, my heart ached until I could barely breathe. A lifetime of neglect had made me withdrawn and cold. When Ethan first pursued me so passionately, I'd been terrified, yet the warmth he brought was too enticing, and I'd crept toward it. But I had warned him. Ethan, I may stay like this forever. If you can't bear it, you can leave. I just never knew love. But once I decide, I'll never let go. Eyes full of heartache, Ethan had gripped my hand. Ivy, I'll wrap the rest of your life in love. Only 7 years in, and love had already burned itself out. Tears fell without warning. I wiped them instinctively and turned my face away. Softly, I asked, Ethan, is it that I never had a heart, or is it that you changed? Ethan froze. Seeing me like this, a sudden sadness flickered through him. But before he could speak, the hospital door was flung open with a bang. Mother stormed in. Without a word, she swung and slapped me across the face. The blow was brutal, my ears rang, my vision blurred, blood beaded at the corner of my mouth. Her face contorted in fury, fingers stabbing at my nose. Ivy, you jinx. You were careless and still blame Rosalie, why don't you just die? I cupped my burning cheek, voice trembling. The one who almost died lying here is me. Rosalie hasn't a scratch. Are you blind? You deserved it. Mother spat viciously. Who told you to commit so many sins? Rosalie's blessed with luck. If you dare bully her again, I'll yank your oxygen tube right now. Ethan frowned and stepped forward. Mom. Ivy is still sick. Sick my foot. She's faking for pity. Mother flung Ethan's hand off. Ethan, stop indulging her. A woman like her needs taming. Ethan fell silent, glanced at me, then looked away and said nothing more. My heart shattered into pieces that could never be reassembled. I finally understood. I would always be the one abandoned. I opened my mouth, My voice was almost inaudible. Ethan, leave. Take them with you. I'm tired. Hearing me, Ethan visibly started. He hadn't expected me to become so calm, to let Rosalie off so easily. But instead of thinking deeper, he decided it was a trick. He really took Rosalie and Mother and walked out. I laughed at myself, pulled the 4-needle from my hand, blood seeped from the back of it. I left the hospital in my gown and bought a plane ticket to Dolly. Before I left, I went to see Mother. Father had gambled away huge sums, lost his head, broken into someone's home, been caught, and was still in prison. Mother had moved into the Vance family's big villa. I hadn't expected Ethan to be there too. He sat beside Rosalie, peeling grapes, his gaze soft in a way I hadn't seen in ages. Ivy? Mother spotted me, her smile vanished, replaced by disgust. What are you doing here? Rosalie saw me as well. She looped her arm through Ethan's and eyed me provocatively. Big sis, are you looking for brother-in-law? He's exhausted from work, and you can't take care of him, so I invited him to rest at our place. You won't mind, right? Ethan frowned at me. Rosalie's just concerned, unlike someone who didn't even text for days. I found it laughable. He hadn't visited me once in all those days either. But I no longer wanted to argue. I simply took a card from my bag and tossed it on the table. When Father wanted to sell me to cover his debts, Ethan gave you 500,000 to save me. Now I'm returning it. From this moment on, I have no parents, no little sister, and no husband. With no job, I wrote novels online. Every fee ling I could tell no one poured onto the page. Luckily, readers loved the stories, giving me the courage to leave. Mother froze, then shrieked, "Have you lost your mind? That money was repayment for raising you." Ethan's face was dark. Ivy, who are you trying to impress with this runaway act? You live off me, where do you think you'll go? I sidestepped his reaching hand, eyes icy. Ethan, yesterday you said I was cold. Yes, I am. Someone raised in a swamp was never meant to reach the sun. So I'm done with you. Ignoring Ethan's enraged roars and Mother's curses, I turned and walked away. I went to Dolly and rented a small courtyard by I. No white roses here, only cosmos blooming over the hillsides. I pulled out my SIM card and threw it into the lake, cutting every tie to the past. 3 months later, I saw news of Ethan online. Sterling CEO spotted drinking himself numb late at night, rumored marital crisis. Word was Ethan had flipped Kingstown inside out searching for me, even confronting my gambler father in prison. I didn't care in the least. Then one day, while I was sunbathing in the yard, the gate was kicked violently open. Ethan stood there, eyes bloodshot, beard unkempt. He had lost weight, the once immaculate white shirt hung on him in wrinkles. The moment he saw me, his eyes lit up. Ivy. He stepped forward trembling, but my cold stare pinned him in place. How did you find me? I asked calmly. His throat bobbed, eyes reddening instantly. I checked your card history. Ivy, I thought you were just angry, but you stayed away so long. I smiled faintly. Ethan, you know what? I used to love that confidence of yours, the way you acted like the world bowed to you. How could insecure little me resist someone as dazzling as Ethan? Now it's the very thing I hate, this certainty that everything is still under your control. In agony, he dropped to his knees before me, reaching for my hands. Ivy, I know I was wrong. Life without you is unbearable. I can't lose you. I've cut Rosalie off. If you hate them, I'll never see them again. Just give me one more chance, please? Looking at the man weeping at my feet, I felt nothing. Ethan, does it even matter? What matters is that every single time, you chose her without hesitation. What matters is that you knew exactly where my wounds were, yet you still poured salt on them, for her. He shook his head frantically, tears hitting the ground. No, Ivy, I only favored her because she's your sister. I laughed, even as tears slid down my cheeks. Favor? Ethan, you call that heart on a plate devotion favor? You came for me, was it because you finally realized your mistake, or because once I left, Rosalie stopped paying attention to you? Ethan went utterly still. I had hit the mark. Rosalie had never loved him, she loved stealing what was mine. Whatever I had, she had to take: motherly love, the overseas exchange slot, my husband. And the moment I tossed Ethan out like trash, he lost all value in her eyes. Of course she lost interest. The first week after Ivy vanished, Ethan started to miss her. Each night, when he dragged his exhausted body back to the silent mansion, only deathly stillness greeted him. No warm lamp left on for him, no bowl of sober-up broth, no quiet Ivy whose eyes used to follow his every move. At that moment, instinct drove him to look for Rosalie's comfort. What he met instead was a face stripped of every trace of warmth. What are you doing here? Rosalie's eyes held none of their old admiration or attachment, only raw impatience. Rosalie, your sister still hasn't turned up? Can you think again, any place she might go? Ethan's voice was hoarse, threaded with a plea. Rosalie let out a light sneer. How should I know? With that gloomy nature of hers, she's probably curled up in some stinking gutter, rotting away. Ethan frowned, the woman in front of him felt suddenly foreign. Rosalie, how can you talk about your sister like that? I'm really worried. Rosalie laughed, her whole body shaking. Come on, Ethan, don't be ridiculous. I only played the part of your devoted lover to rile her. Now that the idiot's finally gone, the show's lost its audience, who are you still performing for? Ethan felt as if lightning had split his skull. A show? You're saying it was all a show? What else? Rosalie looked him up and down, contempt glittering. You didn't actually believe I wanted you, did you? If you weren't Ivy's precious husband, I wouldn't have wasted a single glance. Now that the stupid woman's out of the picture, you're useless to me. Don't ever bother me again. Standing in the biting wind, Ethan felt every drop of blood in his veins freeze. For the sake of this thorny red rose, he had pushed away the wife who'd looked at him like he hung the moon, had smashed the warm home they'd built. In the end, he'd been nothing more than a knife someone else had wielded to stab Ivy. The biggest clown of all had always been himself. Ethan dropped to his knees, the cold earth swallowing them to the bone. Ivy, I know I'm stupid, I'm a bastard. Rosalie tricked me. I thought she was really just simple and kind. Give me one more chance, even if it's only so I can make it up to you, okay? His voice shattered, thick with sobs, like a lost child begging for forgiveness. I looked down at this proud man now reduced to dust. My heart felt stuffed with cotton soaked in ice water, heavy, numb, cold. Make it up? Ethan, do you know? A long, long time ago, you already gave up on me. Do you remember junior year, when Rosalie snatched my overseas exchange slot? Ethan blinked, dazed, as though it had been a trifling incident. Watching him, I gave a bitter smile. Of course, for him it had been nothing more than a small grievance suffered by his girlfriend. But for me it had been wings snapped mid-flight, dignity ground into powder. That day I ran to you in tears. I wanted you to hold me, to hear you say something fair. I spoke softly. But do you remember what you said? You sat in your sports car, smoking lazily, never even opened the door. Back then, Ethan in my eyes had been ice itself. Ivy, this is how the world works, power does whatever it wants. You need to learn to live with it. Actually, it's better you don't go. Long distance is a pain. Stay here, I'll take care of you for life. Ethan's face drained to paper white. He remembered. At that age, he'd been young and arrogant, born gripping a silver spoon, unable to grasp how much sweat and tears a girl from nowhere had poured into chasing a different future. He'd thought it was love, a promise. He hadn't realized it was condescending charity, a total denial of everything I'd fought for. Ethan, that was the moment. I pressed a hand to my heart. Looking at you, I felt the distance between us wasn't a car door, it was a canyon we could never cross. I should have understood then, we don't belong to the same world, we were never meant to walk to the end. You're a cloud in the sky, I'm mud on the ground. A cloud may pity the mud, but it will never understand the pain of struggling in darkness. No. Ivy, listen, frantic, Ethan snatched my hand. Back then I just wanted to keep you beside me. I was afraid that once you went abroad you'd meet someone better, afraid you'd leave me. It was possessiveness, but it came from love. I shook my head, cutting off his pale excuse. Ethan, love doesn't mean snapping someone's wings and locking her in a cage. When you first chased me, nobody in school believed in us. They said the sterling air was just after novelty, playing around. Yet like an idiot, I believed. You gave me a tiny spark of heat and I threw my whole self into the fire. Tears slipped down silently, burning paths across my cheeks. For someone starved of love, the meager scraps Ethan offered had been enough to make me fly straight into the flame. But he'd been the one to approach me first, the one to swear a lifetime first. And in the end, he'd also been the first to turn away. The one who loves first stops loving first, the one who falls later can't stop. It feels like a hot pot finally bubbling at its peak, only for your dining partner to suddenly remember an appointment and leave. Only the churning aroma remains, and me, desolate. I stood, wiping my tears. Ethan, I've mailed the divorce papers to your attorney. Please leave. Don't come back. Don't turn the last memories I have of you into hatred. Ethan sat slumped on the ground, hands covering his face, tears streaming through his fingers. He wept as though the world had crumbled beneath him. But this time, no matter how heart-rending his cries, Ivy, the one who would have ached for him, who would have knelt to wipe his tears, would never look back. The divorce went through without a hitch. Ethan walked away with nothing, transferring every share, every property, every car into my name. All he kept was the pair of plain wedding bands we'd worn in college. On the day he left, he stood at the garden gate and stared at me for a long moment. Ivy, if one day you're willing to turn around, that day will never come. He left. Every month he writes me a letter, yet he never dares intrude upon my life. Rosalie was convicted of intentional injury and sent to prison by Ethan. Victor blamed everything on Eleanor, divorced her, and drove her out of the Vance mansion. She ended up scavenging through trash for scraps to survive. That gambling addict father of mine died in his cell. I still think of the boy from years ago, single-strap backpack bouncing as he chased after me, shouting my name non-stop, as if trying to carve it into my heart. Ivy, do you believe in love at first sight? Because I've fallen hard, and you're the ground. Ivy, can't you just turn around and look at me? Ivy, I swear I'll never betray you. I'll love you my whole life. The wind was warm that day, the promises sincere. But the 18-year-old Ethan died in that blazing summer, and he never made it back to me. Thanks for listening to today's story. If you liked the video, please like and share it with friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more wonderful stories. See you next time.